Welcome to the Communication Diva Podcast, episode 83. In this episode of the podcast, Jen interviews Reiki master Caterina Barregar. Reiki involves healing people by working with their chakras. Sharif may not like it, but Caterina loves rocking the chakra.
Hi, this is Jen Swanson, and you're listening to the Communication Diva Podcast, episode number 83. Can't believe it. I'm happy to be back with you. I know it's been a little while again, and it's happening that way these days. It seems I am almost finished my schooling, my master's degree I've been working on for the past 7 years. So I'm getting pretty excited that the final day of class is something like April 15th of 2014, and everything has to be due then. And I actually have a graduation ceremony in May, and then at the end of May, an ordination ceremony with the United Church of Canada. So a long-held goal is almost finished, and it's hard to believe yet. It doesn't really quite feel real, but it's getting closer with all of the graduation activities that are happening. So that's what I've been very busy doing. Another thing I've been doing is working on a new website called marriageworkscanada.com. That's marriageworkscanada.com. And I am offering couples weekend workshops for people who are planning to get married. And these are pretty much communication workshops. It's a Friday night, all day Saturday. And right now I'm just doing it locally, but I am willing to go elsewhere if there are groups of couples anywhere that are interested. And what it is to explore deeper questions and help each other discuss topics that maybe you haven't thought about before. And and just a time to connect around some of the issues that may come up in a marriage. So I'm excited about that. I've done this workshop 3 or 4 times now, and I'm doing another one in April locally here. And I'm hoping at some point to go further afield. And these are not just for church people. These can be for any couples of any description entering into marriage. So check it out if you have time. I'd appreciate some feedback on the website. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, but I got a cool new video on the front of it. So tell me what you think about that. It's been a little bit of a hard day. A very good friend of mine passed away several weeks ago, and today was her celebration of life, and it was I had the pleasure and the honor and the privilege of sitting with her for a little bit before she passed away, when she was in the hospice there. And she was an amazing, amazing person. She was a nursing unit clerk. Her name was Debbie Goddard. And from the large crowd of people that were there, it was evident that she touched many lives. So that's been a bit of a hard day, and saying goodbye to Deb. Now, I would like to bring you my next guest, and this was a lovely morning, a happy morning to spend with Caterina Barregar, who is from Imagine Life Coaching, and she is an intuitive Reiki master, a relationship coach, and a connector. And she works with women and men, I believe, who are successful and who have issues around self-worth. And she's working with celebrities. She's working with regular people. She's working with all sorts of people. And one of the things she's particularly interested in is stress from our busy lives, and how to help people to take a break from the stress and alleviate it a little bit. So I'm going to turn you over now to Caterina. I hope you enjoy this somewhat of a shorter interview, but I think a rich one. And I would appreciate any comments that you have, any voicemails, any mentions on iTunes. That would be fabulous. So until next time, I hope all is well with you. And thank you once again. I really mean it. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to take a listen to Communication Diva. Hi, so here I am with Caterina, and I'm wanting to say welcome to you this morning.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here today.
Well, it's lovely to finally have you here as one of our guests. And I wanted to begin by asking you maybe to explain a little bit about both what Reiki is and how you became a Reiki master.
I became a Reiki master a few years ago when I attended a meditation program, and the instructor asked me to come and take her Reiki program. So I went to her Reiki program, and we decided that I was probably a really good fit for doing that for the rest of my life. And so here I am.
How did you become a healer at 8 years old? Tell me about that.
My grandmother was a healer when I was living with her in Germany, and she used to have people coming around from miles and miles around to help them heal, either on an emotional level or on a physical level. And somehow I was given that gift at the age of 8. I don't know how it happened. And then I started seeing things and, events and healings for people. And it's just kind of evolved from there.
So can you explain to me and to the listener what Reiki is?
Reiki is about life energy. It's about the universal energy. And Reiki is an opening of all 7 major chakra systems where you can feel the difference, feel like you're actually healing in some way, either emotionally, physically, or spiritually. A lot of people come to me and they come for relaxation purposes or for emotional and physical healing.
So is it like a laying on of hands? Is it conversation? What does a session look like?
It depends on each Reiki master has a different way of doing this. One of my great friends is a Reiki master, and he doesn't talk. He doesn't have sound. He doesn't do anything. He just feels what he needs to do. For me, I like to lay on hands in parts and just be above the body with my hands in other parts. And what happens is, for me, my communication comes through my hands, because when there's an issue, when there's something to be healed, something to be learned, then my hands heat up incredibly and get so hot that the person who's on the table really feels it. I had a client this morning who had the opposite reaction, where she thought my hands were like ice cubes, where my hands were actually boiling hot on my end. And what we did was we did some work around her neck.
And so how long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing Reiki probably for about 3.5, 4 years now, and I love it.
Wow. And all different kinds of clients?
Yes, all different kinds of clients. I have a client at the moment who came to me with severe pelvic pain. She wasn't able to drive, she wasn't able to walk or exercise. And within the first 6 weeks or so, we were able to diminish that pain really significantly. 75% pain-free, is now able to drive, walk, do some exercise. And actually, she is completely pain-free as of yesterday, which is very cool. So we've just been working our way through that. I also worked with some infertile women at one point at an infertility clinic, and it was such a gift to work there, to work on women who are medically sound and help them to become pregnant.
So is a person lying down for a Reiki session? Do they have clothing on? What happens there?
Yeah, they're lying down, they're lying face up, and they're fully clothed. I did have one lady who came to me that thought that she was supposed to be in the nude. And when I came down the stairs, she was totally covered, but she was in the nude. So I always make sure that my clients know that it's a fully clothed session.
Yeah, because I wouldn't know, for many of these things, who knows?
It's
right?
pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And so what do you get out of doing this?
There are so many rewards in doing Reiki on someone and doing the coaching piece on someone. Even if it's just the smallest thing up to the largest of healings, I am so grateful to be doing this work and watching them as they blossom.
And how can Reiki help with communication?
Reiki helps with communication in a number of ways. First of all, the client comes to me, and when I lay my hands on them or around their body, my hands get a communication from the person, either through their emotions or through their body, past, issues, that sort of thing. So it's communicated to me, and then I communicate back with the energy medicine, the energy healing. I communicate that back to them. And so there's a lot of physical and emotional healing, as we said before, but on a really deep level, so that they begin to get some joy back. And then they start communicating more and opening up more and trusting more. And yeah.
And stress is just completely pervasive now. I was in a class last evening, and the instructor was talking about how incredibly stressed as a culture we are here in North America, and probably not just in North America, but it seems to be an extremely common thing. And so part of your work is to help people with that?
Yes, stress in the corporate world is huge at the moment. There are tons of statistics, and there is so much stress, and people are starting to look at corporations in a different way. So my work is moving more into the corporate world at the moment, and helping some of those CEOs and executives and the staff members to release some of that stress so that they're more productive, more focused, and more creative in their workplace.
So you're doing this throughout the day?
Yes.
At the office?
Yes. Yeah.
That would be a nice little bonus, wouldn't it?
It would. Well, there are so many organizations out there now who really care for their staff members and their workers, and so they're trying to make it the best workplace possible. And if they can add Reiki for 10 to 15 minutes per day or per week to their staff members, wouldn't that be something? Have a harmonious place to work in where you can just focus in and get organized and get your job done.
So they give you a little space, and you set up a roster, and people would come at their convenience throughout the day?
Yes. So what they do is they sign up ahead of time. I have my Reiki massage table set up in one of the offices, and then we just have quiet music, and it's basically a relaxation and letting go of stress Reiki session, which is usually lasts about 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour, depending on what the organization needs and wants for their workers.
In 10 or 15 minutes. So that doesn't even take up all your lunch break.
Nope, it doesn't. Or your coffee break.
Or your coffee break. Well, that's a bonus. Excellent. So you're moving into that area then?
Yes. Yeah, in the Lower Mainland area.
In the Lower Mainland. But can you do Reiki remotely as well?
Yes, I love working with my remote clients. I have a client who lives in another province, and I was working on him just last week, and we've worked over the last few weeks on one of his back issues, and that's been going really well. And then I felt that he was having a problem with his right side of his mouth, in his jaw, around his teeth. And I asked him what that was all about, and I could really feel it. And so he said, well, I have to have a wisdom tooth removed. So that's very cool when I can do that in a remote way.
So
remote is wonderful.
So remote, but you're not laying on of hands.
When I do a remote session, what I do is I have them send me a picture of themselves or whoever the client's supposed to be, and usually a picture from head to toe if it's possible. And when they send that to me, I can usually sense what I'm going to be working on and what I'm going to be working through with them. It's very, very powerful.
And you're talking to someone on the phone or on Skype? Or?
Yeah, I talk to them on the phone more than I do on Skype, because I don't want them to be distracted and I don't want me to be distracted. And so doing it over the phone is always much more effective than over Skype.
Wow, who knew?
I did.
Well, yeah. But that's good for me to know about too, because that just opens everything up then as well.
Yeah. It's amazing work.
And I had another question. You also do other things other than the Reiki.
So the other piece, along with Reiki, is the coaching piece, and that's around worthiness and self-esteem and anxiety issues. And so what happens is the first half hour is coaching on worthiness and anxiety. And sometimes that becomes quite emotional for people. And so that's when I add the Reiki, the relaxation Reiki at the end of it, so that they can work through some of it. They walk away with an action plan, and they walk away usually feeling like they've had a wonderful massage and like they really are stepping forward in their lives in some way.
So it would be an hour long
That
session.
would be an hour long.
So where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Over the next 5 years, I want to see the corporate piece of my work expanding and moving all through the Lower Mainland and beyond. It's a big dream of mine, and it is possible, and I'm really looking forward to helping corporations and organizations move forward.
So going and doing workshops or partnering up with people and that kind of a thing.
Exactly.
So it sounds like there's a lot going on for you right now. And your perfect client would be what? Would be who?
My perfect client is a corporate client, an organization who needs help in getting their staff back to the human element, where their staff is treated like a person rather than a number, and having corporate wellness days around that. In my private practice, I'm always looking for people who are having issues with worthiness and having issues with anxiety, so that they can move through those pieces too.
Why do you think there are so many people here who have lost that sense of self-worth?
I could really get on my soapbox about that, but I really believe that media has really blown everything out of proportion. You know, everybody's so photoshopped and so brushed and all that sort of thing that, regular, everyday, ordinary people like you and me, well, maybe not you, are suffering because they're looking at this and they're going, I can't possibly live up to that. I can't possibly look like that. And so their self-worth automatically goes down, keeping up with the Joneses, making X amount of dollars, all that sort of thing. And in my corporate work, it's become a place where people are numbers. And my partners and I are trying to get it to the place where people are humans again, where people are people again in the organization, where the organization looks like and it feels like they care about their workers and their staff members and their executives.
Sounds really good. That sounds lovely. If people want to reach you, how can they find you?
I have 2 websites. My private clients can go to www.imaginelifecoaching.ca. And for my corporate clients, you could go to www.caterinabarregar.com.
Okay, CaterinaBarregar.com and imaginelifecoaching.ca.
And actually, the Imagine Life Coaching site will link right to the corporate wellness site as well. There's a tab for that there too.
Okay, so we'll put all of those things on the show notes at communicationdiva.com. If you've missed that in the audio, you can come on over and check that out and see a picture of Caterina and find out a little bit more about her. Is there anything you would like to leave the listener with today?
I guess what I'd like to leave your listeners with is harmony in your private life and harmony in your workplace. There's a domino effect that happens, and it creates harmony everywhere. Wouldn't it be a wonderful world if we could be happy in our workplace and happy in our home life?
Well, best of luck with all of that. Best wishes, and I look forward to finding out where you're at in the near future.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for allowing me the privilege of coming on this show. Thank you.
So there you have it, my interview with Caterina, and I hope that you are inspired. I know I am inspired to, at some point, take a little stress break myself and go and see her in a client capacity. It's been as you know, a crazy time this past year, actually, and time to slow it down a little bit, I think. But Reiki is intriguing to me. I'm particularly intrigued by the remote version that can be done over the phone, and I think she's onto something here with all of the workplace stress that I know I've experienced myself, and actually talking to a colleague today about some of the stress that she's been experiencing in the workplace. It's not an unusual phenomenon at all. So thank you again for listening, and until next time, take a breather. This is Jen Swanson, and we'll talk to you soon.